Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mack Story.
Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast today. Today I want to talk about something that happens to me fairly often on LinkedIn. Not too often, but it does happen more than once per year, maybe several times per year. And so far it's always been on LinkedIn, the professional social media networking platform. And I value LinkedIn tremendously. And if you're not on LinkedIn, you need to be leveraging LinkedIn because it's going to help you in the future. You may not have a reason to be on there today, but when you have a reason to be on there, you're going to wish you would have started today building your LinkedIn profile and your network. So make sure you check that out. Go follow and connect with me. I may not be able to connect. You can only connect with 30,000 people, and I crossed that threshold quite a while back. I've got about 50,000 followers now on LinkedIn, so you just have to go click the follow button and to get my content and that sort of stuff. But what happens is, and let me just say, I don't know where this episode is going to go. I don't know how long it's going to be. I just want to make a point, and I may teach some other stuff, share some other things along with it. But I just want to address this issue. I have people, like I said, several times a year, send me a message or call me out, if you want to call it that, on LinkedIn. And what they say is they want to know why I'm belittling or demeaning the blue collar workforce. They don't like my brand, I guess is what I'm saying. And so then they accuse me of demeaning or belittling the blue collar people. They say, why do you want to label these people that way? And I'm one of these people. I don't know who they think they're talking to, but I'm one of these people. It don't matter what I accomplish in my life. I'm going to be a blue collar guy from the time I was able to become a blue collar person to the day I die. And like I tell people, if you see me in a suit, it's like Halloween, man. It's a disguise. It's something I had to wear to get to do whatever it is I'm doing at the moment. But I've worn a lot of things I didn't like to wear in my life when I was doing those blue collar jobs. And so just the way it is in life. But what they say, I'm belittling, I'm demeaning, and I always reply back to them. I'm always nice. I'm never ugly to people. I always reply back and tell them I'm one of those people. And the main thing I tell them is this: blue collar is not a label for Mack Story or anybody that I know that's a blue collar person. Blue collar is a title. It's not a label to be ashamed of. It's a title to be proud of. And what I know is blue collar people are proud of that title. And the interesting thing is all these people who tell me I'm belittling and demeaning the blue collar people, so far they've all been white collar folks, which means they don't even really understand the blue collar folks. But just to be sure I'm not wrong, because that's the last thing I want to do is belittle or demean the people that I'm trying to serve and I care about helping the most. Whenever I speak, you quite possibly have been in a room where I ask the people. I tell them this story and I'll say, is there anyone out there who feels demeaned or belittled to be called a blue collar person? So far, nobody's ever raised their hand. I'm telling you, and you already know it if you're a blue collar person. Blue collar people are fine with the title blue collar. We're proud to be blue collar. We're proud to do physical labor. We're proud to use our hands and our backs to accomplish some really great things. And if you want to know what those things are, open your eyes, look around. Wherever you're standing or sitting or riding or whatever you're doing, if you're in a plane, it doesn't matter. Wherever you're at, all you got to do is look around. Show me something that the blue collar workforce somewhere in the world didn't create. Everything. The paper you're writing on, the paper you're reading from, the pen you're writing with, the vehicle you're traveling in, the roads that you drive on every day, the bridges that you cross, the house you live in, the appliances you use every day in life, the buildings we work in, everything. There's nothing to be ashamed of about being the kind of person who created all these things through work, physical labor. But I'm going to tell you what, it's a whole lot of mind that goes into this stuff. And see, again, white collar folks, and I don't have anything against them. I respect white collar people. I grow and develop them just as much as I do the blue collar folks. But if they've never worked in blue collar industries, they don't understand how much intellectual capacity a blue collar person has to have to do most of these jobs, especially today. There's so much technology out there. Even when I was working in the factories, and if you don't know my background, I worked in CNC with CNC lathes, mills, and drills, and gear shapers, and all kind of stuff like that. I had to know a lot of stuff, and the people today have to know all of that and a whole lot more, because everything has changed so much, and everything has changed so fast. Working in the technical field is something to be proud of. Not running away from getting dirty. I know when I go out in the plant still today, if I'm out somewhere and there's some blue collar folks out there hard at work and I'm walking past them, I'm shaking their hands. I don't care if they got dirty gloves on. I don't care if their hands are dirty. I don't care. Because if my hands get dirty, guess what? I can wash them. It's going to be okay. I've been dirty before. I'm probably going to be dirty again. But I want these folks to know I'm okay with you being dirty and being at work. If you read my book, Blue Collar Leadership, Leading from the Front Lines, the first thing I tell, the first chapter in that book, I teach the person who's about to read it because I'm trying to connect with them. That chapter's title, I'm One of You. And I talk about my first day in the factory. I went home, my underwear was soaked in cutting oil. Actually, for several days and weeks, every bit of clothing I had was soaked. I didn't have any way to keep it off of me. The job, you had to be close, and it just oil splashed all over you, and that's just the way it was. And finally, someone told me, "Oh, you can buy a plastic apron down in the break room for like $1 or something. That'll help." And it did help, but it didn't matter. All my clothes had been soaked by that time. But what I want them to know is I'm one of you. So I just wanted to talk to you about that. And I guarantee you, if you're a blue collar person, if you like the rest of us, it's a title to be proud of. And the white collar people should be proud of their title. But it's just so funny. I get these people who don't know anything about us trying to tell me I'm belittling and demeaning the blue collar folks. I just can't comprehend it. And then they say we shouldn't label people. I'm like, how do you exist in life without a label? I'm thinking. I don't say nothing rude to them because I'm not the rude kind of person. But it's just a label to separate the kind of work we do. That's all it is. I remember one lady, she had a title that said an accountant. And I'm thinking, I didn't say nothing to her, but I wanted to say, why do you call yourself an accountant? Why don't you just say I'm a human being? It'd be kind of rude and sarcastic. I don't say those things. I say them to you right here on the podcast because it's kind of neutral and generic. And I'm just sharing with you the stuff I think, but I don't say it. I always tell people, I heard John Maxwell one time, he said, if you're impressed by what I say, you'd be more impressed by what I don't say. And I agree with him because there's a whole lot that I don't say. And I'm sharing with you guys because you're my audience. And when I'm defending the blue collar title, I'm defending your title too. And again, it's a title. It's not a label, but you already know that. So don't hide it out there. I always tell people this blue collar leadership brand that Rhea and I are building together, you know, her background's white collar, healthcare administration, but she got a lot of blue collar girl in her. And but the reason I always say what we're building is Rhea helped me so much with this brand. She helped design the covers. She designed the website. She does a whole lot of stuff in the background that Mack Story does not want to do. I ain't interested in doing all that stuff. I would do what I had to do, but she helped me a ton. And we speak together. If you've heard me speak, you've probably heard her speak. We speak together. That's because these principles apply to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're white collar, blue collar, no collar. It doesn't make a difference. If you're a human being, these principles apply. What I've done, what I share from the stage is when I discovered this stuff in 2008, I started realizing, hey, this is a world of knowledge that pretty much is kind of reserved for white collar executives, for the big dogs, what we called them in the world I was from. It's reserved for the big dogs. And all us little dogs, we didn't ever get any of this kind of training and development. So when I started discovering it, I started learning it and applying it and living it, and starting realizing I ain't the only one in the world. Most of us in the blue collar world haven't heard and been exposed to these principles. So I said, I'm going to take this stuff. I'm going to put it in Mack talk that my blue collar brothers and sisters can relate to, and I'm going to give it to them. Make sure they can have some. It ain't reserved for the white collar executives no more. I'm putting it out there, and there's leaders who believe in me and believe in my books and my brand. They're investing in their people. They're allowing me and Rhea to come invest in their people. And really what I tell them is, this is for you. This blue collar leadership brand is for you. It's as much your brand as my brand. You got to help make sure you spread this stuff to the blue collar folks in your life, especially if they're your children. Because really what I want all this stuff to be, all of my books, and we've got a lot of other books. Rhea and I have 23 books. 5 of them are in my blue collar leadership series that I wrote. But I've got 13 books, and Rhea's got some books, and she's got some journals. Actually, we've got almost 30, counting her 6 journals. But what I want people to do is, people who've never really been exposed to the kind of content I share, I want them to get exposed to it through my books. And then through my books, I share a lot of quotes from other authors and other people. And I want them to realize all these other books that appear to be reserved for white collar executives mostly, they're for you too. So I want my books to serve as a bridge to help people who've never been exposed to this type of content to cross the bridge that I'm providing and get out to the rest of the world. There's hundreds and thousands of books out there. And when they read my content, because most blue collar people, they don't want to learn from a PhD. They don't want to learn from a college professor. They don't want to learn from a CEO, white collar executive. A lot of them don't want to learn from a pastor. But they don't mind learning from one of their own, which is me. So I've done a lot of work. I've done lots of research, learning and applying one way, and then also reading. I've been reading every day since 2008. Why do I do it every day? So I can be better for you, so I can motivate and inspire you to grow and develop yourself with the intent of growing and developing others. So I want to just thank you for whatever it is you're contributing out there to the blue collar space and the blue collar world. I'm going to tell you this. There's a whole lot of blue collar folks out there, especially those on the front lines, but not only those on the front lines, that the one thing that's holding them back, actually, this one thing applies to everybody on the planet. But I'm speaking to the blue collar folks today, and especially those in the entry level positions, and especially those who've been there a long time and they're frustrated. There's one thing holding you back. It's your character. That's what all my books are about, character development. Because I know that is the thing holding me back, holding you back, and holding everybody else on this planet back. It's our character. Character development is the foundation for leadership development, whether you're talking about personal leadership or leading others. But personal development is the foundation for leadership development. I said that wrong a minute ago. Character development equals leadership development. Personal development is the foundation for leadership development. Meaning I've got to lead myself well before I can lead others well. So be proud of that title. If you listened to the last episode, if you missed it, you got to go back. I had some fun on that one, talking some leadership truth. I love talking leadership truth. But that last episode was all about people who hate the job, hate the boss, hate their pay. If you fit into that category and know somebody who does, you got to listen to that last episode and then share that link with those people you know who need to hear it. And also, just to tell you, January 3rd, I think, whatever that first Friday in January is, I'm going to start. It's kind of related to that last episode. I'm going to start a series on my book, 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation. So I know I'm going to do that book. And then probably after that one, I'm going to do a series on my Blue Collar Leadership and Culture book, the 5 components for building high-performance teams. So the first series will be 10 foundational elements of intentional transformation, which is how to become your best self. It's a mental roadmap, regardless of where you're at. If you want to climb to the next level and beyond, it's going to require some change and transformation. And then I'm going to focus on that book focuses on self, the foundation, the very bottom of how do you transform yourself, your mindset. And then Blue Collar Leadership and Culture. That one's really for the top leader. And I'm going to share the principles in it. It applies to anybody, especially if you want to grow and go. You want to climb to the next level and beyond. You learn how to transform the culture and you start transforming your team. You're going to be given an opportunity later to transform a bigger team. You master that one, you're going to be given an opportunity to transform a bigger team. And you just get to keep going. So regardless of what level you are as a former leader, or maybe you don't even formally lead anyone, but you aspire to be a leader of others. You learn what's in the Blue Collar Leadership and Culture book, you're going to have a head start. But first thing you got to do before you can transform in an organization, you got to learn to transform yourself. So that's what I'm going to kick off 2020 with, is a focus on personal development, personal transformation. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mack Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mack's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.